Death and taxes. Sending information from the future seems fantastic. I agree. I cannot relay the details of how I discovered this ingenious technology, and I hope that my message does not travel to a day before we first met at the Anarchy Club. Oh, but I assure you that when we talk in the here and now, I will share my wondrous discovery with you in full, and you will surely say, "Wow, how could I have not thought of that?" For now, however, we can't afford to ponder the rich peculiarities of information and time. I need you to focus on what I am about to say so that you may avert your impending misfortune. The zombie apocalypse that we spent many a late night planning at the club finally happened on February 7th, 2034. We missed our deadline by only 5 years. It's truly a miracle that some semblance of our plan came to fruition. Our projection of the total number of animated dead was not so prescient. A known population of only 57. You did not misread that. Recall that our most optimistic forecast was 60 million dead roaming the streets, causing chaos. The disposition of our undead minions, it must be said, will disappoint you. Ravaging beasts of mayhem they are not yet to be. To be sure, they can get cranky, but their insertion into society has not caused the hysteria that we had planned. Indeed, if you can believe this, a website called deadbook.com was created to honor our monsters, and is now one of the most visited on the web. Photos, bios, and innumerable selfies with the undead. Ugh, it's a true horror. 56 of our zombies have fan pages. The 57th found her way to my home office. You see, I was having lunch with you at the clubhouse, feverishly planning how we were going to correct the underwhelming outcome of our scheme. I then returned to my office and found an undead minion in a chair. An animated corpse of our own creation. I could not guess how she gained access to my property, but there she was, softly wheezing and considering a large pile of papers. She lacked aggression and malice, but to her credit, she did possess one fantastically unnerving stare. One eye was milky white and produced a nauseating ooze. Trust when I say that you would not want this fine lady of decay chasing you. Our undead gal wasn't wearing clothes, and I tried to surmise how her unclad state related to the circumstances of her death. While pondering this, I spied a dark critter of some sort wriggling from a thin tear in her breast. Other than the insect and some mottling about her torso, I did not see too much decay. She seemed to be quite ambulatory in a wonderfully creepy way. As I beheld her marvelousness, it occurred to me what she was doing with all those papers. She was doing my taxes. I realized that the execution of clerical work was never our intent after years upon years of meticulous planning. Still, you must forgive my excitement at witnessing our zombie carry out its task with such attention and care. No distraction could pry her focus away from her work. Not even a prepared platter of fresh animal brain could deter her from a Schedule C in progress. On one occasion, she shuffled around my property with a yardstick, attempting to calculate the square footage of my office as a ratio of the entire house. She moaned and creaked as she mapped out my floor plan. My loyal dog became truly hysterical. With a precise hand-drawn plan in hand, she then doggedly created amended returns from 2027 to 31, downgrading the space of my office from 28 to 24% of my total square footage. She groaned and coughed up chunky foul bits of phlegm while figuring back taxes, penalties, and interest. We had sought to destroy the government, and now here we are feeding fresh meat to the beast. As I searched for ways to convert disappointment into opportunity, I decided that I should focus on redirecting her determination into an activity that could harm society. I studied and journaled her behavior as an anthropologist might, looking for clues. One morning, as I readied myself for a long day of observation, my naked undead subject suddenly locked her eyes on mine as I stepped into the office. She jumped to her feet and pursued me doggedly around the furniture, grunting with ferocity, knocking over this and that in an attempt to seize me. At long last, now we are getting some murderous behavior. In the chase, I stumbled and my wallet dropped from my pocket. She fell upon it greedily and pulled out all the contents until she held the object of her desire. A receipt from Home Depot. She limped back to my Form 1049 and conservatively calculated the portion that could be written off. So, in addition to steely determination, our creature seems to possess the ability to detect things she wants using senses unknown. Might this zombie skill be weaponized? This newly discovered feature of the undead could perhaps be the secret ingredient that reduces our nation to rubble. I must study this further. What happened next was a pleasing surprise, and it demands your full attention, for it affects your well-being directly. I entered my office to discover that a brand new zombie had taken residence in my home office. How are they getting in here? There is no time for determining its origins, though I gleefully noted that the number of pages on deadbook.com had jumped to 112. In any case, the new addition seemed to be in a similar state of light morbid decay, but without any munching insects. Upon my entrance, he lurched excitedly towards me and then fell to his knees. I did my best to remain calm while he knelt before me. He peered intently at my midsection with squinty eyes and groped my belly. Satisfied, he managed to stand and resumed his station at his chair. Somehow, this fellow found my copy of Gray's Anatomy and spent the rest of the afternoon studying sketches of the digestive system. We spent much of the following morning on the telephone, discussing the behavior of my house guests. You then resolved to arrive here to run some tests, as well as to submit your papers for this year's tax deadline. What happened next may be the most horrifying thing I have witnessed in all my life. No sooner had you put your shoebox of receipts on a desk than our man-zombie fell upon you in a wild rage. I am ashamed to say that I was paralyzed with fear and could only watch the grisly scene in shock as he wrestled your helpless body to the floor. Despite the grim outcome, we must nevertheless cheer ourselves for this promising exhibition of naked savagery. He had a burly forearm to your throat, rendering you unable to move or breathe while using a can opener to incise your midsection. Oh, how he rooted and dug inside your gut with steely gray-blue fingers. What a skill! What ferocity! My vision blurred with the sheer shock and disgust of it all. I could not deduce what he snatched from your rent and ruined body until late evening. When my nerves finally settled, I could at last enjoy some happier news. It seems our lady friend determined that you are due a handsome refund from our government. Worry not, my dear friend, your demise, although gruesome, is entirely avoidable. Before February 2023, you must secure yourself an appendectomy. I assure you from my own experience that the recovery is brief and without undue pain. Get this done with speed, my friend. The long overdue demolition of this wretched society is finally at hand. Anarchy Club shall prevail.